All right, so I'm going to watch the chat. I'm going to pull that up here and watch our Slack channel. If anybody has a website, if you have a website and you would like me to pull it up and give you an honest critique of it from a design standpoint and from an SEO standpoint, I would love the opportunity to do that. Now, in the meantime, while we're waiting for someone, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a random site here and do that. So let me see. Let's do window treatments, Washington, D.C. All right, so here's some results. So first of all, we've got a couple sponsored results here. Then we've got what we call the 3-pack. Now, this is a great example of the 3-pack that has 4 results. The 3-pack typically is 3 results, and those are the 3 that have optimized their website. They've asked for reviews. They've done the things correctly to get into the 3-pack. If you're unable to get into this 3-pack, one thing you can do is you can actually run an ad through Google Ads, and you can show up first in the 3-pack as the 4th listing, but you show up first with this little sponsored thing here. So the Shade Store, 18 reviews, only 3.9 average. That's probably why Google isn't listing them down here, because look, they got 5 stars, 4.9. So Shade Store is having a hard time getting into this, so they're having to spend money to get into that. That's fine, but that's what they're having to do because, I don't know, they're getting some poor reviews. Obviously, fix your reviews, fix your install processes to make people happy, and that'll bump that number up. But anyway, they're in here. And the reason this is important is right now for our clients, and we have over 50 clients in this industry, 60 to 70% of their leads, of our client leads, come specifically from Google My Business, which is what we call the 3-pack here. So it comes specifically from this area of Google, of the Google results. So very important to have this area working very well. All right, I'm going to turn something off here so it doesn't keep bugging me. All right, there we go. So very important to be in what we call the 3-pack. If you can't, you're gonna have to run an ad, get in here. But I guarantee this is driving leads for them. The only bad thing about it is the fact that they've got the 3.9 stars there. A lot of people will default to these other guys just because of the numbers and the 5.0 stars. But all right, so let's cruise on down here. I'm going to skip budget. I'm going to skip Stoneside. I'm also going to skip Beltway because I know who that is. Blinds to Go is another big organization. So let's do Window Wares. I'm not familiar with who they are, but let's go ahead and just pull them up. mywindowwares.com. All right. So mywindowwares.com is a Hunter Douglas template site. So by default, as a Hunter Douglas dealer at a certain level, they give you a free website. This is a template. It looks like every other Hunter Douglas site online, except you get to put your own logo here. You get to put your own picture of yourself, this little section here. And typically at the bottom, you get to put your own contact information. Other than that, these sites are all the same. And that's a big problem for search engine optimization. Google by default sees all these sites that are exactly the same, and they're just not unique. So Google's not going to rank them terribly high. And that's why they were down the list 5th or 6th when I went to choose them from the opportunities that were available there. Not the best way to do it, but let's go ahead and toss them into my tool and just see how they're doing. Now, the other thing with this is, as I said, you don't have a lot of control over this. As a dealer, they give you this. You can't really go in and do a whole lot with this site. So you're limited on what you can do on the site to influence Google to love you more, I guess would be one way to say it. There are things you can do, like we talked about in our SEO masterclass. You can do things off page. So you can build links to your site. You can do things like that influence it outside of building the site itself that could help you with your rankings. So there are still some things you can do that are available. It's just not the perfect SEO scenario. So, All right, so I'm going to grab their URL, mywindowwares.com. I'm going to open up a tool that we use called Ahrefs. And this is a tool that basically I can plug in somebody's domain name and I can get a good idea of what Google thinks about this website. So let's go ahead and plug that in here. mywindowwares.com, hit the enter button. Let's see what comes up. All right, some fancy stuff comes up. So let's kind of dissect what's going on here. So the first thing we see here is a DR, or domain rating. This is a number between between 0 and 100. And in short, it reflects the authority of this particular domain. To get from a 0 to a 1 to a 2 is like a 10,000% increase. It's a big increase to bump those numbers up. The other thing that I should comment here is this is also comparing this business to every other website online. So not just other window treatment dealers in the area, but other roofers and dentists and other service providers in your area. Also websites like eBay and Warby Parker and Amazon and all the other sites that are out there. So when we're looking at a site like this, which is probably servicing Washington, D.C. plus a 40, 50 mile radius, it's a very small cog in the internet wheel, right? It's a little tiny thing. So in the world of window treatments, since we're just doing a small little area compared to the globe, to get a DR of 15 over the course of 4 or 5 years is really good. That's really good. You're probably going to max out somewhere between 15 and 20 for a small business in a very specific area. So even though it's 0 to 100, in our world, it's more like 0 to 20, right? So they are currently at a 1.3. This particular row of numbers is looking at changes in the last year. So in the last year, they've gained 1.2 spots, meaning a year ago, they were at 0.1. So they've made some strides there. That's fantastic. The next number here is backlinks and referring domains. So as I mentioned earlier, I was talking about off-page SEO, things you can do on other websites to influence your site. This is one of the things that Google looks at. How many links do you have coming from other websites? Now, there's a difference between backlinks and referring domains. Referring domains is unique domains, so .coms, .nets, .orgs, that are linking to you, whereas backlinks is the total number of links linking to you. So for instance, if you bought a link, and you shouldn't buy links according to Google, you shouldn't do this, but let's say you did. You got a link somehow on Amazon.com in their footer, right? You got a link down there. That link shows up on every single page, every single product, every single page on Amazon. So it would be one referring domain with millions of backlinks, right? Google would only count it as one. Now, Google would count the authority of that one domain that was linking back to you, which is fantastic if it's Amazon, right? But overall, the number we're really after here is the referring domains. In a perfect world, this would be a one-to-one relationship. That's really perfect world. It never happens, but that's really kind of what we're after here. So 16 referring links pointing back to their website. This number needs to be in the hundreds and ultimately in the thousands as time goes on. So 16 is pretty low. Next, keywords. Currently, they are ranking for 649 keywords, which is a loss of 50 in the last year. So over the last year, they were at 699, and now they're at 649. So not horrible. 650 keywords is a good start. That's a good solid foundation to be ranking for. The next number is traffic. This number, I will be totally honest and say I really don't pay any attention to, because Google directly does not share traffic information with tools like this, Ahrefs. So tools like this have to guess, depending on these numbers, how much traffic they think you're getting. And I've always seen this number to be wildly wrong. If these guys are ranking number 6 or so for window treatments, Washington, D.C., they've probably had more than 19 visits in the last year. I'm just guessing that that's probably true. So I tend not to give that number any credence. Lastly, we've got paid search. If they're running ads, I'd say 50% of the time, maybe not even that, 50% of the time that data shows up here. It's not real trustworthy either. But these other numbers are very trustworthy because they're just using external signals that everybody can see and get to. All right, so the next chart. This chart, we have two things turned on. We have organic pages and we have referring domains. So I already talked about referring domains, and that number is 16, right? That's up here. And you can see this is a 2-year window. So you can see over time how that's grown. So 2 years ago, they had 10. Now they have 16. Not horrible, not great. This, you want to see a nice gradual increase again, really in the hundreds as time goes on, and ultimately in the thousands. But I'm talking thousands as of, several years worth of link building and working and doing things. Now, the other thing that helps links being built is creating good content on your site, which is the yellow line here, or orange line. This is the number of pages that Google has indexed related to this website. So 2 years ago, 98 pages, currently 63. So they've actually lost a third of the pages on their website. Google has either de-indexed them or they took them down or something. So they're actually taking content off of their site or losing credit for content on their site. And quite honestly, this is, again, we want a nice increase curve or increase chart as time goes on. Two things you want to be doing: creating content very consistently and creating links very consistently. Those two things are going to do nothing but grow your business, grow your online visibility. All right, next chart here is organic keywords in a 2-year window as well. So 2 years ago, this company was ranking for 2,100 keywords. And you can see there was a huge drop that year, all the way down to 1,200. And it looks like by May of the next year, that number was 804. So pretty significant drop there. And if we look at the chart above it, since the links pretty much stayed the same during that time, we can see that they were definitely taking content offline or getting de-indexed for content. So that would probably affect how many pages they're ranking for. So from 2,100 down to 804, looks like they gained some authority, ranked for some more keywords around 1,400, down to the point where now they're ranking for just under 1,000. So pretty interesting how time has gone on and what they're ranking for as the time continues. All right, so that is a really good basis for how this website is doing from an SEO standpoint. Now, the other thing I want to look at here is the actual keywords. They're currently 649 as of today. What we're really looking for when it comes to keywords is two things being married together, really. Product or service married with location. So again, just like my search, window treatments, Washington, D.C. If you have those two keywords or key phrases married together and you're ranking for those types of things, it's going to be money. It's going to be revenue. So let's click on these and see just what they are currently ranking for. All right. So the first one is window wears, Washington, D.C. So brand name, location, not ideal. Well, I shouldn't say not ideal, but the only reason somebody would type this in is because they're already familiar with your brand. So you may have put a billboard up, or you did a TV commercial, or somebody was referred, something like that, a networking meeting where they got a business card, something like that. They're typing in the brand to find information. A lot of times when somebody types in brand to find something, all they're doing is looking for a phone number or a way to contact you, right? Which is fine. Again, that's fantastic. But that requires you to have already done some sort of marketing, right? They're not just going to type that in without knowing your brand previously. Now, when it comes to these words, and we're going to go through some more of these, there's two columns we're really looking at here. Volume is estimated number of searches in a 30-day period. So window wears Washington, D.C., 20 people a month are typing that in, or we'll call it one every other day, right? Just a little over one every other day is typing that into Google. And position is their current position in Google when somebody types this in. So obviously their brand, their location, they're in position number one, as they should be, which is just perfect. What we're really after here, again, product or service and location. That's where leads come from. That's where revenue comes from. So Window Wares is a brand. Blinds DC, I guess we could say that is product and location. So let's follow that across. 20 searches a month. They're in position 6. So they're a middle of page 1 of Google for that phrase. Window Wear doesn't count. Blinds Washington, D.C., that's a little more specific. Only 10 searches a month. So pretty low on the search volume. They're in position 6. So now you can start to see window treatments, Washington, D.C., 10 searches a month. They're in position 7. That's probably the one that I did. But what we're really after here is some of the more detailed related searches. So something like this, statement door, 20 searches a month. They're in position 18. This ranking is 100% useless to them. It's not going to drive a lead. Nobody's going to type this into Google and then sign up for an appointment, right? There's no correlation between the search and the intent of that particular search. Also, this is something somebody in Idaho or California or Texas could type in. And even though they're ranking in the 18th position, even if they were ranking number 1, it still wouldn't be a potential lead, a valid lead for them, right? So that's why we're always looking for that product married with location. Those are the real winners. So let's see here. Next Day Blinds, that's a competitor. 𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗦𝗦. Look at that, 100 searches a month. They're in position 42, but quite honestly, again, useless. This is because it's a Hunter Douglas site. And of course, it's going to rank for some of the Hunter Douglas stuff because they're the ones that built the site. So they're going to do that. But the problem here is, even though they're ranking for 650 keywords, there are hardly any that are valuable, that are worth anything to them. 1, 2, 3, 4 keywords, quite honestly, on this entire page that I see that are potential revenue driving keywords. So it's not always about how many keywords you're ranking for. That's it. 4 of these keywords are any good. And on top of that, 1, 2, 3 of them are on page 1 of Google. So only 3 out of 650 are really probably getting any eyeballs at all. The other 646 are mostly useless traffic, which is not great. You know, it's a waste of traffic, waste of money if they're putting any money towards it, and it's just not great for them. So let's go ahead and just for the heck of it, let's look at page 2 and see if there's anything here worthwhile. All kinds of Hunter Douglas stuff. Again, great for Hunter Douglas. Here's a Budget Blinds DC. That's a competitor. Shade Store DC, another competitor. Yeah, so really, in the overall scheme of things, this particular company is not a threat online, quite honestly, not in the least. So, all right, let me check my chat. If you're watching live and you want me to do a quick audit on your site, plug it into the chat there and I will grab that and we'll plug it in and we'll do that.